Let's make some jack-o'-lantern bites, aka pumpkin ravioli and a brown butter sauce with toasted pecans. I got this out of the Horror Movie Night Cookbook, another super fun Halloween recipe to try out. So this was going to be my very first time making pasta from scratch, and I'm very excited about it. So to make the ravioli dough in a large bowl, we're going to mix the flour and the salt. From there, in a medium bowl, we're going to whisk together 4 large eggs and 1 cup of hot water until well blended. And then slowly add the egg mixture to the flour until well incorporated. And we're going to knead that dough until firm. In the book, it says you don't want it to be too wet, too sticky, or too dry. So it's kind of mixing that together. I noticed that this mixer sometimes struggles to get everything at the bottom, so I just use a little whisk to kind of help move it along, make sure everything gets really well mixed up. Kind of use my hands just a little bit and then back to mixing. It's still better than just doing it completely by hand, but it's not perfect. Roll the dough into a ball and wrap it in plastic wrap and then let it rest at room temperature for at least an hour. This part was kind of fun. What a cute little ball of dough. I was very excited to try making homemade pasta for the first time. While the dough was resting, I made the pumpkin filling. You're going to put 8 ounces of canned pumpkin puree, 2 tablespoons brown sugar, half a teaspoon nutmeg, half a teaspoon ground cloves, 1 teaspoon ground cinnamon, and then salt and pepper to taste into a pot over medium heat. You're going to stir everything up, make sure it doesn't come to a boil. We're going to want to kind of burn off a lot of that liquid, so don't cover the pot, and heat for about 10 to 12 minutes or until most of the liquid is evaporated. While that was happening, I also got out my crushed pecans to toast. So I put those into the oven at 350 degrees for about 10 minutes as well. Then I got out the flour and spread it all over my board as well as my rolling pin. After the dough had rested for about an hour, I got it out of the wrap. It was kind of sticking to the wrap, so I was a little bit nervous that maybe it was too sticky, but I was able to get it off and then kind of cut it into smaller pieces so that I could roll it out. I tried to roll it out as thin as I possibly could. You're supposed to use a ravioli mold at this point, and I didn't realize until I was partway through making this that I didn't have that. But I had seen people make ravioli kind of this way before, where you just sort of like lay it on top of each other and then cut out the little sections. So I decided to just do that, and I think it worked great. So I was kind of winging this part just a little bit because I couldn't follow the instructions anymore. At this point, I was loving how they were looking. They were really, really cute. Definitely weren't equal in shape or size or anything. They weren't uniform in any way, but I thought they looked amazing and I was really proud. They definitely looked like ravioli, so that was a win. Then I put a large pot of water on the stove to boil, and while that was boiling, I got out my toasted pecans and I crushed them up nice and small. And then you boil your ravioli for about 5 minutes. I realized as I was boiling that these looked a bit thick, so maybe I didn't roll out the ravioli quite thin enough. I probably should have done it a little bit thinner. They didn't look that cute at this point, but they did smell really good. That pumpkin spicy flavor was really coming through. Then make the brown butter sauce by melting about 4 ounces of butter in a large skillet over medium heat. Cook that for about 4 minutes or until the butter begins to brown. Remove that from the heat and add 2 tablespoons of balsamic vinegar and 2 tablespoons of brown sugar. And kind of just stir that up to combine. Then add your ravioli into the skillet and kind of spoon the sauce over to coat them. This also smelled absolutely incredible. I was very excited to eat this at this point. And you can kind of do this in batches if your ravioli don't all fit at the same time, which is what I ended up having to do. Again, the dough definitely looks a little bit thick on these, but the smell was incredible. And let me just tell you, the flavor was so good. I was really, really proud of how these came together. I'll definitely be trying to thin out the dough for the next time. Maybe I can get one of those pasta rollers, that might help. But beyond that, the actual flavor profile of the pumpkin spice, the brown butter, and even the dough was really, really good. It was just maybe like a little bit too much dough to pumpkin flavor. I highly, highly recommend that you try and make these. Let me know in the comments if you have any suggestions on how to thin out the dough without a pasta roller, and we'll see you on the next video.